You're watching the Freakopotamus podcast with The Real Russell. All things R&B, funk, soul, and Prince. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Freakopotamus podcast. You ready for some R&B, funk, soul, and Prince? Let's go. And now, your host, The Real Russell.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back once again to the Freakopotamus podcast, the show where we bring you the voices that shape the sound of yesterday, also the voices that shape the sound of tomorrow. I am your host, The Real Russell. How's everybody doing on this Hump Day Wednesday? Hope everybody's doing well. Today, I'm excited to welcome a very special guest whose career has continued to evolve in inspiring ways over the years. Many people first discovered her through her memorable run on American Idol, and the hit song Eighth World Wonder. But what makes her journey so compelling is that she has never stopped growing, creating, and finding new ways to connect with people. Today, Kimberley Locke is not only an accomplished recording artist with new music reaching audiences around the world, but she's also dedicated to helping others through her wellness community, Journey to a Better You. Through that work, she's encouraging people to focus on both physical, mental well-being while pursuing healthier, more fulfilling lives. In this conversation, we're going beyond the headlines and beyond the moments many people already know. We'll talk about personal growth, wellness, reinvention, creativity, purpose, and what's next for a woman who continues to inspire others by embracing every new chapter of her journey. Please join me in welcoming Miss Kimberley Locke.
Russell, that was an amazing introduction. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I feel really good after that. Thank you for that uplifting introduction.
Absolutely, no problem. Well deserved, well deserved. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. I told you before we came on the air, I'm in one of my happy places. I isolate a few times out of the year
Right.
on purpose to just refocus and reset my life. And that's exactly where you have found me, in the midst of that. And so I'm on day 10 of that, and it is really amazing. So I'm feeling really good.
That is awesome to hear. That is
Yeah.
so good. Well, it's great to have you here. You've worn so many hats throughout your career: artist, entrepreneur, mentor, and wellness advocate. When people ask you what excites you most about your life today, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
What's next?
What's next?
I mean,
Okay.
I think I'll give you a real answer. What excites me
Okay.
most about um, who I am and where I am is the journey, right? Like where I've come from, the things that I've had the opportunity to experience and be a part of in my life. Like I couldn't have planned it myself, right? Like if somebody said, write down, here's a piece of paper, write it down, I would have missed half of the stuff. And so when I think about that, I do get excited about number one, where I am, because I'm unrecognizable to
Mhm.
myself at where
Mhm.
I am now. So when I think about that, I think about what's behind me,
Mhm.
and that I could not have planned it.
Right.
It makes me excited about what's in front of me.
Right. And it's always best to look forward, not backwards anyway.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
let's talk about Journey to a Better You. If you don't
Let's
mind.
talk
What
about it.
what was the moment that inspired you to create Journey to a Better You?
That's a great question, and I have a very exact moment. And I wish I'd written the date down. So one of the things I'll say to you, Russell, as you're moving throughout your life, if you have these moments of aha-ness, write the date down, because I wish I knew the date. I only know the general vicinity of the time, but I happened to be in my therapist's office, and I must have been in my late 20s, maybe my early 30s, and I was having a major epiphany in my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I said to her, you know, sometimes when I'm in therapy, I can be really dramatic and it's okay. So, and
Right.
that's kind of the fun of it. It's a safe space. But
Right.
I leaned into her and I said, oh my gosh. I was like, I have to tell every woman that I know what I just learned, what I just received.
Right.
And what it was is that, people people are on this journey, they're on this path, and they are trying to figure it out, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And in the process of that, they're blaming themselves, they're guilting themselves, they're beating themselves up. Well, as we all know, it's really hard to get anything accomplished when you're constantly beating yourself up. So it doesn't
Right.
work, right? And
Right.
so in this moment, what I realized is like, oh my God, it wasn't my fault. Like, none of it was my fault. Like, I didn't, whatever it was that I was trying to work through, none of it was something that I sat down and said, I'm going to self sabotage myself and I'm going to do this. I
Yeah.
realized it was my programming. And so a lot of us, not a lot of us, all of us have programming, right? All of us
Right.
do.
Mm-hmm.
And so until that moment, I didn't understand how real the programming was. And
Mm-hmm.
once I understood the programming and and why I do certain things, then I was able to deliberately start making changes in my life.
Yeah.
And that was really powerful to me. And I said to her, I have to tell, every woman that I know about this. And she was like, and you should. And that's how the journey to a better you was born. Like
Mm-hmm.
literally that night I went home, I probably stayed up till 1 o'clock in the morning,
Wow.
and it all came to life. And I literally started coaching like right away the next day.
Wow. Is this program available for men as well, or strictly women?
Yeah, so here's the funny thing about it.
Okay.
When I first started coaching, I had a man call me and he wrote to me and he gave me a little bit of his background. He was in the military, like retired military. So I wrote back to him and I said, sir, with all due respect, you have the best, you know, plan. If you're trying to change your body and be healthier,
Mm-hmm.
you've got the best plan. He's like, no, Miss Locke, I need your help. So I took him on as a client, fully knowing that I was not sure if I could help this man or not.
Right.
And the most amazing things started to happen. And we uncovered some things, some belief systems that were driving him. And so, what I realized in that moment was that what he taught me, and this is what I love about coaching, because it's not just about me teaching and helping my clients help me too.
Yeah.
And what he taught me is that men have the same struggles as women do when it comes to their bodies and that mental gymnastics that we all do. And it
Right.
really changed my perspective. So the answer is yes, I work with just as many men as I do women. And I
Okay.
love it because that was something that I didn't even think of it. I just didn't think of it.
Yeah.
That's my own bias. And I think part of the journey is becoming aware of your own biases so that you can then do something different. And it's amazing. Like I've got men in my community right now that I just launched a month and a half ago, and
Yeah.
it is really beautiful.
Fantastic. Yeah, a lot of people have this misconception that men don't struggle with
Yes.
things,
Hmm.
inside, and we do.
Yeah. You do. And you know what? I learned that as a woman growing up in the South, I was programmed that way. I was
Mhm.
programmed to not look at men as I look at women. Women have feelings, men
Right.
don't. I know that sounds so generic, but that is actually a belief system that we all kind of grow up with. Men are definitely not encouraged to share their feelings. That's for sure. If they do have them, don't talk about them. And
Yeah.
so it's really nice to be able to reach people, no
Yes.
matter their gender or anything, just to reach people.
Yeah. Yeah. Mental health is real, and it's more
Yes, it
prevalent
is.
today than ever.
Yes. Hmm.
So, how has your definition of success changed over the years?
You ask such great questions, Russell. So I'm 48.
Okay.
And when I was on
Young,
American Idol, I was what?
20 something.
When I was on Idol, I was 24. I auditioned, I was 24, turned 25. And back then, my definition of success was to break into my singing career.
Yeah.
That is what made me successful, right?
Right.
To basically to do the damn thing, and the thing was
Right.
to sing. And so, it's funny because after I did that, I was like, oh, now what? You
Right.
know, and it happened so fast.
Hmm.
And then, I think as you get older, you start thinking about your life beyond your career, right?
Hmm.
Your quality of life, the quality
Hmm.
of people that you have in your life, the quality of the work that you do, the people that you work with. Like, you start to think about all these things. And so now I measure my success by peace.
Peace. Yeah.
Peace. And, it's gone through some phases. At first, I was like, I just want to be happy. And then I was like, no, I just want to be at peace,
Hmm.
I just want to be at peace. And
Hmm.
and I think, for the first time in my life, I was probably a lot of stuff happened to me in my 30s. I don't know how old you are, Russell, but my 30s were like ground zero teaching time,
Hmm.
right? And so for the first time in my life, when I was probably like 35, 36, I experienced peace.
Yeah.
And I was in my apartment, I was at home, had some time off, and I was like, what is this feeling that I feel of nothingness and quietness in my
Hmm.
head? And I
Hmm.
realized, like, for 35 years, I didn't know what peace was. I thought I did. And so now that's how I measure my success, because, you know, when we are at peace, we're our minds are clear, we feel good, we're connected to ourselves,
Yeah.
and we also we are making good decisions. You're
Yeah.
making good decisions for yourself, the people that you love. You're making good decisions, and who doesn't want that?
Exactly. And you found peace early. I was going to say, most people when they get older, that's what they're looking
Yeah,
for. They're looking for the peace and later in life.
yeah. Well, let me tell you
Find
this: I felt peace for the first time in my 30s. I didn't hang on to it. I felt it for the first time, and then I was like, oh, how do I get more of this,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
that's been a journey in and of itself, right?
Yeah.
To learn how to consistently tap in to that piece, because life happens and life throws you curveballs. And I think it became even more inherently clear to me
Right.
that people, places, and things mattered.
Yeah.
That I had to make sure that if I wanted to maintain peace in my life, that I had to reevaluate, take stock of people, places, and things, right? And that was a challenge.
Right.
And because, like I said, life is always going to throw us a curveball, you
Yes.
know? And so if your people, places, and things are out of whack, when that curveball comes, it's going to seem 1,000 times worse than it would be if you had your people, places, and things in check. And
Yeah.
it's a tough one for people to do, but it
Yeah.
is one of the best things that we can do for ourselves.
Oh yeah. And that curveball stings more when you don't have a good support system around you.
100%.
Yeah. Nobody's gonna know what you're going through, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
remember when I was in my 20s, when we were in our 20s, we don't really care about much except for the present.
Yeah.
And then when you get to be like 30, 35, you're running out of time. You feel like you're running out of time.
You feel
And you're
like you're running out of time. Yeah.
yeah, and you're wondering, okay, what am I gonna do with the rest of my life?
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
that's a lot to think about, right? That's a lot. The rest of your life. That's one of the things that I had to stop doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
To learn how to be more present. And I think, that's tough for a lot of us, because the world teaches us to plan ahead and plan for your future and yada yada yada, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And I refuse to be shortage conscious about time,
Right.
because that time goes by in the blink of an eye. So I'm definitely not going to be spending my days thinking about how much time do I have left. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I had a conversation today about life insurance and it just made me laugh hysterically, right? And I was like, 20 years, I'll be 68. I'm not going to think about that right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so, it's it's a balance, right? You
Mm-hmm.
staying in the present is one of the most beautiful things we can do, right? And
Right.
I don't think I think yes, in our 20s we lose that, right? We're out there having fun, we're having a great time. And then as we get older and we realize like, oh, the world expects me to do X, Y, and Z. So I
Yeah.
can't really be living in the present right now. So I think
Right.
it's important for us to find time to and find ways to make sure that we stay in the present.
Right. Yeah. I got somebody down in the chat. And they say, pick and choose says, hey, 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 I'm 44 and I still got time. Okay.
Yes, you do have time. That's right. I'm with you, pick and choose. Yeah.
Wow. So, what are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about wellness, you think?
Mm. I think that people, when they think about wellness, they only think about the exterior parts of their body, right?
Hmm.
The way they look, and and that is just so flawed. Um, I think your exterior is a reflection of what's happening on the inside of you,
Right.
um, and so I the tagline for the journey to a better you is it all begins within, right? And
Hmm.
so you start to really, check in with yourself. I mean, there's an astronomical number of people in our world today who suffer from anxiety, and that's an internal thing, right? And so,
Hmm.
how do we find ways to calm ourselves from the inside out, right? Because the world
Hmm.
is moving fast. So many
Yeah.
things are happening. We're inundated with stories constantly every day. And I myself, I had to intentionally stop watching the news
Yeah.
because it, whatever I was taking in at night, it was still being played out in my mind. So I really wasn't resting. And then I wake up in the cycle and I was like, okay, this has to stop.
Yeah.
And so when you think about what happens when the body has anxiety, the body is so busy working to calm you and keep you safe, even when there's no imminent danger, that the body can't focus on doing. Um, they can't focus on doing what it needs to do, which is
Right.
keep you alive and keep you stable. And
Yeah.
so, and then it becomes a domino effect, right? And so I think that people negate their mental well being and their spiritual well being when they think about wellness. They just want to think about, okay, I need to eat this and I need to move this much. And sometimes you need to do the opposite, right? You need to sit still because
Hmm.
going to the gym creates stress, right?
Hmm.
Um, Stress on the body. And the body does not differentiate between good stress and bad stress. We know that. And
Right.
so I think a lot of people just, like I said, they only think about the exterior, which I think society puts a lot of pressure on us to worry about what we look like on the outside instead of taking care of what's happening on the inside.
Yeah, exactly right. Which leads to our next question. How do you think physical health and mental health influence one another in your experience?
Mm. Um, Big time. I think that I just did a I just did a video on this in my community in one of my courses, and
Hmm.
what I've noticed with my clients that are in the community right now is we've moved through several different steps. There's courses, we do challenges, we share out all these things.
Right.
And throughout that process, what's happened is that because they have been put intentional focus on their food and sleep and exercise, now they're getting clarity in other ways, right? So
Mhm.
now they're talking about, I need to do this thing at work with my job because
Mhm.
I've been putting it off.
Mhm.
I've got this I've got this passion project over here that I really want to pursue. And so it's a domino effect, right? It becomes a beautiful domino effect.
Mhm.
Because your health and wellness, think about it. People who work, for another company, they don't work for themselves. Think about how much time they spend at their jobs, right? And so that's a high percentage of their day, right?
Yeah.
That they are consumed by. It's not quite 50%, but it's really close, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so if you're not happy in that area, what does that do to your life? Now it starts to impact your day-to-day wellness,
Yeah.
and it impacts your mental capacity to think about the things that bring you joy. And
Yeah.
that's one of the things, like, I'll say to anyone out there who is an artist, right? And when I say artist, I mean an artist of any kind. You're a photographer, you're a singer, you are a painter, you draw, whatever kind of artist you are. I think every artist learns that that craft is their lifeline,
Right.
right? And if you do not find a way to incorporate that into your daily life, that it feels like you're dying a slow death.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds dramatic, but it's very real. I've experienced it myself. And so when you think about health and wellness, it all goes together. Your body, your wherever you are mentally, you know, you're right now I'm really trying to educate myself and learn about mind heart coherence and
Mhm.
how that impacts me. And I talk about myself because I'm doing the practices.
Yeah.
But I think when you think about your art and being artistic, that's your soul, that's your heart. When I get on stage, Miss Patty LaBelle said something to me one time, and we were backstage, we were doing a show.
Mhm.
It was me, Patty, Miss Pat, and Winona. And I was in hog heaven, as we say in the South.
Sure. Sure.
I was in hog heaven, and I was not in a good place. Um, Something was going on with my family, and
Uh-huh.
Miss Miss Pat, she walked straight up to me and she stood this close from my face, and she said, "Baby," she said, she said, "I don't know what you're going through and what's going on." She said, "But just know that every time you get on that stage, you're going to leave a piece of yourself there.
Mhm.
So you need to make sure that you've got enough to leave." And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I think I started crying, right? Because
Um,
number one, she saw me, right?
yeah.
And so I think when you talk about your body and your health and your wellness, you can't separate those things, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I knew that there were a lot of times, and a lot of singers do this. A lot of singers are crying backstage before they go on, before they go and step in front of that mic. I've been there. I've seen it. You hear the stories,
Mhm.
and that's when you get out of balance, right? Because then you start pouring from an empty cup.
Right.
And so you don't get to separate your health, wellness, and your body and your soul. You don't get to put everything in a compartment. It's
Right.
all in the same tub together.
Yeah.
So that is 100% true.
Patty LaBelle, she's gonna keep it real with you anyway. She's so
One
down.
hundred.
Love Patty.
Yeah.
So what daily habits have made the biggest difference in your life?
Mm. I discovered that I like early mornings, like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, like when it's
Mm.
quiet, when you hear the first little bird chirping outside. Now, I don't always get up that early, but sometimes I do. And
Mm-hmm.
I went through a phase in my life where I wasn't really sleeping well
Mm-hmm.
and I was awake. And I learned to not lay in bed and fight it. I'd just get up,
Mm-hmm.
and I would just, I'd read or I'd start looking at something or researching something
Mm-hmm.
until I was able to fall back asleep. But I really have grown to cherish those times in the morning because it's quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, my brain hasn't kicked into overdrive.
Right.
The world hasn't into overdrive. There's no emails flying in. Nobody's texting. Nobody's calling. It's quiet.
Yeah.
And I think embracing those moments really helped me because then it led to an intentional early morning meditation practice. Now
Yeah.
again, I don't do it every morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I there have been periods of time where I do it for months and I feel the benefit of doing those practices.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm in isolation, as I told you earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and I am putting together a uh, 40-day unconditional consciousness practice. And
Okay.
so I am going through that 40-day practice myself. So I'm on day 10, and it
Nice.
involves journaling. It involves, um, really opening up and cracking myself open to look
Yeah.
at, what's still driving me in a not healthy way that I need to look at, right?
Right.
And so I think anytime you can do something that is consistent, even if it's for 5 minutes a day, right? Um, I think when people hear meditation, they think, oh my gosh, I can't sit still. I can't. And so I learned that I can't sit still. I can't sit and do meditation. So I meditate laying down.
Mm-hmm.
I lay down, I prop myself up on pillows, and, I make it work for me. It's my practice. If it doesn't work for me, it's no good, right? So if it doesn't
Right.
work for you, it's no good. And so though that early morning practice opened up the door for me to start practicing other things that were good for
Mm-hmm.
me.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think my mom's on the same page. She's almost 80 years old and she's been doing this for
What?
years.
Wow.
And she gets up like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. every day. And she says it's
Wow.
because the world hasn't started yet. It's my
Yeah.
quiet time
Hmm.
to, reflect
Yeah.
on, what's going on inside. And I don't know, maybe it's because she goes to bed at 5. I don't know, but
Well, that's what happens. Like, so when you start doing these practices, it's a domino effect, right?
Mhm.
I always say, so when I work one on one with my clients, I use this analogy, and it's a perfect analogy. Your
Mhm.
mind is like a closet, right?
Yeah.
And let's just say there's shit all over the floor. Okay,
Okay.
shit everywhere, right?
Yeah. Right.
So most of the time when you walk in, you turn around because you're like, I can't deal with this,
Right.
right?
Right.
Cannot deal with this. And so, what I say to my clients, are like, all right, we're going in the closet, we're going into your mind. What pile do you want to look at first? And we're only going to
Yeah.
focus on that pile. We're not going to
Yeah.
focus on 15 piles of stuff that's laying around. It doesn't work, right? And
Right.
so, what happens is you deal with one thing at a time, right? And once you get that piece organized, you just made space, right?
Mhm.
And so when you declutter your mind or a space, you create flow. And so now your thoughts can flow in a different pattern because you've addressed something. I'm not saying you fixed it, right?
Mhm.
There, because there's really, I like to say that there's no such thing as fixing, right?
Right.
You become aware of it, you address it, you don't avoid it, you know it's there, because a lot of this stuff is so embedded in us that, it's about managing things and
Yeah.
accepting that this is something that I'm going to have to focus on for a while. Maybe not forever, but for a while, right?
Right.
And so that's how I like to think of these practices. What these practices do is they allow you to create space. And so, like your mom said, getting up in the morning, she created a space, right? And
Yeah.
so by getting up early, the domino effect is that she goes to bed early because that time in the morning is so important, has become so important to her. She doesn't mind going to bed at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's the beautiful positive domino effect of
Mhm.
what happens when you start creating space for yourself,
Mhm.
but also becoming aware of what you need. Because
Mhm.
we're not really taught to focus on what we need in our
Mhm.
lives. We're really taught, especially in the South, you
Yeah.
know, make sure you love your neighbor before you love yourself.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That's really what it means.
Yeah. Look out for your neighbors.
Yeah, yeah, but who's looking out
Yeah.
for you?
Yeah. I'm gonna have to share that with her because she also relates that to getting older. That's what we do when we get older. And you're gonna do it too.
Well, what's so funny is early mornings are one of my favorite times of day, but I also love the end of the day.
Hmm.
The end of the day. I've fallen in love with the end of the day. And
Hmm.
I almost texted my friend today, but I was like, don't text her because I know she's busy, text her later. But
Hmm.
I started to text her and say, oh my gosh, it's 2 o'clock. Why am I so excited to get in bed tonight and watch Downton Abbey?
Yes, I can relate to that. I can
So
relate.
life changes and things shift, and
Yes.
that's okay, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yes. As you get older, I must admit, you rethink things, and the things we're doing now, we didn't do,
No,
before. And
no.
and I always say, I'm becoming my dad. I'm becoming my dad.
You're becoming a better version of your dad. How about
Better
that?
version. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh wow. So, what's one piece of wellness advice that sounds simple but was difficult for you to implement?
Mm. Oh my gosh, there were so many.
It seems like you got such a handle on everything.
Yeah, work hard. I'm still dealing with that one.
Still dealing with that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I was taught to work hard. I was taught work hard, and then I was told you need to be still, and I was like,
Yeah.
what? Like,
Yeah.
that is not part of the vocabulary, and that is not okay. And I still struggle with it.
Yeah.
Um, but I was told, when I was grinding it out and I was not in a healthy way, I wasn't healthy mentally, I wasn't healthy physically, like things were bonkers in my life. And I was told, you need to take some time off. And
Hmm.
it was like they kicked my cat. And I was like, oh, hell no, you didn't, like, and that was hard. That was so hard. And even now, even though I have navigated a big piece of that,
Hmm.
I still struggle with it because it is a belief system that was instilled in me as a child. And
Right.
it is one thing that I tell everybody, if my mama didn't teach me anything else, my mama taught me how to work.
Right.
And so I have stood on that for my entire life. And
Hmm.
now I'm trying to not dismantle it, but reframe it in a healthy way. Because the one thing she didn't teach me was how to take a break and rest and take care of
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
right? And so, and I think that, we're in that generation, our parents were baby boomers, right? And
Yeah.
so, and then we're sandwiched in between baby boomers and tech, right? And
Mhm.
so we've got work ethic because that's what our parents taught us. Like I was a latchkey kid, right? My mom
Yep.
wasn't home when I got home.
So,
She was like, "Go in the house and lock the door, and I'll be
yep.
home later."
I'm with you.
Eat those chicken nuggets.
That's right. Pop Tart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And so it's been really challenging for me because work hard has also equated to my brain being constant overdrive
Mhm.
and my body being in survival mode a
Right.
lot. And so that's not sustainable. And so I did hit a wall where I was forced down, right? And
Mhm.
so I always say God comes in a whisper or he comes in a shout, right?
Mhm.
And so he was whispering and I wasn't listening and I got the shout and I was down, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so finding that balance,
Yeah.
right? And feeling like I do have permission to slow down. I do have permission to take care of myself.
Yeah.
That's a hard one. That's been really, really hard for me.
Yeah. And somebody told me something the other day. It really hit me. She said, "If you worry about something, that's you doubting God."
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
100%. 100%. And I was a chronic worrier.
Mm.
And that stems from growing up in an abusive household and being under that constant stress of not really knowing what was going to happen because everything was so volatile.
Yeah.
And I was in my 20s when I realized, oh my God, I worry about everything. It was so
Yeah.
normal to me. I didn't even realize that I was doing it. But I worried about things whether they were good or bad. It didn't matter. And I
Right.
was like, this is not okay. I cannot live another 25 years like this. I'll have a
Yeah.
heart attack,
Right.
or I'll have a stroke. And
Mhm.
so really trying to sit with that, oh, oh my gosh, that
Yeah.
was rough. That
A
was
lot of
rough.
weight. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think a lot of people chronically stress like that and they don't even realize they're doing it because it's their norm. It's
Yeah.
normal to them. And, listen, if I can help anybody in the ways that I've helped myself, I really want to do it because it really does change. It changes your life in a way that you never thought was possible.
Yeah. I definitely think you're on the right page. Before we go any further, there's a comment here. She says, Rayvon says, "You're still beautiful."
Ah, thank you, Rayvon.
She doesn't think about
Thank
time.
you. No, don't think about time.
That's the key.
That's the key. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How do you stay motivated when progress feels slow?
Mm. Those are the times that I really try to stay present in the moment,
Hmm.
right? Because the one thing I do know is that when it feels like nothing's happening, everything's happening,
Happening. Yeah.
right? And again, we live in a world where just of instant gratification, right? And we want it now, you know.
Yeah.
And I learned that all the bricks I've laid, right, and all of the things that it's like you make 100 phone calls, right? You don't need 100 yeses, you need one, right?
Yeah.
You need one. And so I've learned, and I do feel like this one I have a pretty good handle on, to understand that forcing something is not going to get you there any closer. As a matter of fact, sometimes it sets you back.
Yeah.
When you've done what you know you should have done, or what that you did what you needed to do, then you have to release it,
Yeah.
and know that the rest of it is up to the universe and up to God, and you put it out there, right? The most important thing is that you put it out there and you
Yeah.
took the steps to put it out there. And then there's so, I believe in magic, man. I
Yeah.
do believe in magic.
I tell you what, you're
And
speaking to me, man.
yeah,
You're speaking.
absolutely. Yeah. And so you have to know, right? You have to know that, okay, I did my part.
Mm-hmm.
Now the universe and the world and the energy is going to do its part, right?
Yep.
Because we're all, the great thing is, and we can all test this, right? We start thinking about something that feels really good and we get excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you in 2 or 3 days, you'll start to see evidence of that thing showing up. It's pretty amazing
Yeah.
to watch that happen. And I've done that before. And so I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that just because things are going slow,
Yeah.
it's still happening.
Yeah. And you know what? I've come to realize is that there's power in words, and if you write things down,
Yeah.
you can speak it into existence. Just sit back and wait. It might not happen
Wait.
immediately. Yeah.
Yeah. I will tell you a story, and I wish I had this journal, but I wrote in a journal. Oh, I do have this journal. I don't have it with me, but I do have this journal because I found it. I wrote in a journal about 7 years ago that I wanted to go to Italy and I wanted to stay for 1 month. I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to rent a house and I wanted to stay for 1 month. I found after I did that, a year after I did it, I found that journal and I was blown away because
And
I
look at them.
forgot,
Yeah.
right? I forgot that I had written that. And I laughed. I had some tears. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I must have really, really wanted this because by then I had done it twice already.
Wow. Mhm.
And so, yes, you're right. Writing things down makes it real.
Yes.
And, I tell people all the time, typing on our computers is fine, but writing is cathartic because it,
Yeah.
it flows it flows through the body. Like you create the thought and then your hands translate it in real time. Like sometimes when I'm writing in my journal, I can't write fast enough because things are flowing out of me so
Yeah.
fast, right?
Yeah.
And so journaling is a great practice. And I think if more people journaled, they would ease their anxiety, soothe
Mm-hmm.
their depression, and watch a lot of their, goals and things that they're hoping to happen, watch them come to fruition.
Mm-hmm. And what I've done is that if there's something that I really want out of life, I'll write it down and I will put it under my pillow and sleep on it
Hmm.
and put it out
I
in the
like that.
universe overnight. Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
I love to dream. Do you dream?
Always. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you
Oh,
dream in color or black and white?
you know what? That's a good question. I never really paid it any attention.
All right, let me know. I want to follow up on that. Let me know.
Yeah. I definitely
Yeah.
have some things to talk to you about offline because you're really speaking to me.
Oh, good,
Mm.
Russell. I love this.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Yeah.
great. Listen, I just had a major epiphany. Like I told you, I'm doing this 40-day consciousness, unconditional consciousness practice, and I'm building it and creating it as I go because it's something that I will present to my community, after I've gone through it.
Mm-hmm.
And what I realized is that when I was a little girl, I thought I was going to be a preacher.
Well, you definitely have a lot of those traits. Mm. Yeah, I can see that.
Right? Yeah. Well, what happened the other day is that one of my journaling prompts prompted this flood of memories from like when I was 6.
Mhm, mhm,
And I was like, I was always so scared of it, because as became an adult, I don't consider myself a religious person,
mhm,
right? I
mhm,
believe in God, I
mhm,
believe in Jesus, but I
mhm,
also believe that there were other prophets out there who were also telling the gospel.
Hmm.
And what I believe in now is that we all have the right to our own spirituality, and
Hmm.
that more importantly, I believe we're all connected. We are all from the same spark of life.
Yeah.
And the more we realize that, the more powerful we become as a collective body of humans, right?
Right.
And so as I got older, I was like, I don't want to be criticized, like the criticism, that comes with, you know, that role, right? It
Yeah.
just I didn't, I knew I had stuff that I was trying to work on. I can't afford to be picked apart. I would have never survived. And
Right.
so I never even stepped foot in that direction. And I realized the other day that, my ministry doesn't have to be from a pulpit at a church.
There you go.
My ministry is my life, and my ministry is what I'm living and what I'm experiencing. And if I can touch somebody, Russell, if I can speak to you and something I say resonates, whether we're in an interview or in a restaurant or passing on the street, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's my ministry.
Yeah.
That is my gift to whoever. And that's the thing, like when people come in contact with me, I want them to leave better than they felt, right? I want to be a positive I want to be a positive force, to help people, to give people hope. I think a lot of people feel hopeless,
Yeah.
but we are so much more powerful than we give ourselves credit for.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, yeah.
So, what have members of your community taught you that surprised you?
Mm. So, when I first started coaching, I was coaching a lot of women who were entering retirement, and it was
Okay.
eye opening for me. And some of these women, they didn't know who they were.
Wow.
They'd worked at their job for 30 years, and they're like, Kimberly, I don't even know who I am without this job. And I
Yeah.
was like, really? And I was like, well, let's talk about it.
Hmm. Hmm.
And these women sat with me and so openly shared and shared with me that I don't know what I like to do. I don't know what I enjoy. If I have a free weekend, I have no idea what I'm going to do with my time.
Right.
And that taught me a lot in that moment. It
Yeah.
taught me how important and what a necessity it is to get to know myself and to
Yeah.
like myself,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Because, you know, we come into this world, as one individual. We leave this world as one individual.
Right.
And they're like, you're talking about your mom. She's 80, right?
Hmm.
God bless us if we live to 80, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
We live to 90, then we are left to ourselves, right? And
Yeah.
to have a life for ourselves, not to just
Yeah.
sit around and wait to die,
Yeah. Yeah.
but to continue to find joy and purpose in life. And I was really grateful for that lesson because that came very early on for me. And
Hmm.
that was a big one. That was really, really, I learned so much. I had like 5 women at the same time who were about to retire. And that's
Hmm.
why they hired me as their coach,
Oh, wow.
because they had no idea how to navigate. And I have to say, they're doing just fine. All of them, they're doing
Good.
just fine. Yep, they're doing better than fine.
Awesome. Awesome. So let's talk about personal growth and life lessons for. We touched on it earlier. But looking back, what would you tell Kimberly 20 years ago?
Looking back through the years. Is that the song? That was a song, right?
I think so.
Oh my God. Oh, Russell, you asked such good questions.
I came prepared.
Yeah, man, I love it. And I'm going to be really my goal in life right now is to show up and be authentic, right? I've
Yeah.
learned that, I don't have the energy to try to be something that I'm not. And so I think one of the things that I would tell my younger self is that you're safe, you
Yeah.
know, and because I haven't had a lot of safety in my life.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm talking emotional safety, physical safety, basic needs safety. Those things have all been at risk for me. And so I have a lot of belief systems rooted in that lack of safety. And so when you move differently when you don't feel safe, you know?
Mhm.
And so if I could tell my younger self anything, I would tell her, you are safe and I've got you, and you don't have to make decisions out of fear.
That's a great answer. I like that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what challenge in your life ended up being a blessing in disguise?
Ooh, Russell. Lord have mercy. Russell is up in here going deep, boy. Okay. Oh. Mm. Mm.
We know you got something.
Yeah. My my relationship struggles with my parents.
Okay. Okay.
And I'll specifically say with my mom, because that was the hardest one.
Gosh, we really need to talk.
Yeah, that was the hardest one. And that was the least expected one. She was
Okay.
my one, she was my one safe person.
Yeah.
And then she became unsafe.
Okay.
But I will say that there's a school of thought out there in the world that we choose our parents when we come into this world. And if I indeed chose her,
Hmm.
she made me into the person that I am today,
Awesome.
right? So good, bad, or indifferent, right? But
Yeah.
I think that has been the greatest struggle of my
Hmm.
life, reconciling that,
Hmm.
and my mom passed away a few years ago.
Oh,
Um, but I will say that in her passing, something in me was healed. And I know that, so to some people, they're going to be like, clutch my pearls. But that is, that
yeah.
is, I can truly say that. And I feel closer to my mom in her death
Hmm.
than I did when she was alive.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what have you learned about
You want to,
resilience?
Russell, you want to pick off any more scabs? You want to pick any more scabs?
I wasn't quite looking at it that way, but
I'm joking.
you're nailing these. You're nailing these. So
This is good. I love it. This is
awesome. I'm glad
great.
you're enjoying yourself. I'm enjoying myself as well. But yeah, you're definitely speaking to me today. We definitely need to talk offline. So
Good. Good.
moving right along. What have you learned about resilience that you couldn't have understood earlier in your career?
Mm.
Any of these that you want to move past, we can move past and come back for just.
No, listen, these are really great. And it's funny because sometimes I'm fortunate enough to be in a position where I get to sit with people and they get to ask me questions, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so what you're allowing me to do is to reflect myself back to myself.
Okay.
And that's important because we don't always do that. And it's
Okay.
so important for us to take stock, right?
Yeah.
And to remember, as my girlfriend says, girl, let me remind you of your receipts. Okay, I got a list of your receipts. I'm like, why you clocking my receipts? She said, because you don't clock your own receipts, so I'm gonna clock them for you. And so you're helping me clock my receipts. And so, you know, I always knew there's one thing we know about children, right?
Yeah.
Who go through trauma. Children are resilient,
Yeah.
right? Children are resilient. They will fall down, and I watched a little kid fall down on a snowboard and he bounced right back up like a ping pong ball,
Yeah.
right? Children are resilient emotionally in that way as well. And
Right.
so I knew that I was resilient as a child. Like I knew that I had to be to get through, you know, my childhood journey. And now as an adult, whew, working through these things as a child versus working through the same things as an adult, totally different,
Hmm.
right? Because the mechanisms that you developed as a child to protect yourself and preserve and self-preservation, they don't work as an adult. So as an adult, you have to unlearn all of that stuff and then try to learn something new. And it is not easy. And I talked earlier about people, places, and things.
Hmm.
And a lot of the people, places, and things we carry with us through childhood,
Yeah.
from childhood into adulthood. And when you become an adult, you realize I need to get rid of these people, places, and things that are in my life right now because they're
Yeah.
not serving me anymore. Right. And
Yeah.
that is not easy. And so my resilience as an adult, it's this is why when I feel like things are just not working out,
Yeah.
I remind myself, I remind myself for the need to be resilient, right?
Yeah.
And to keep going,
Right.
you know? And if things feel like they're not moving, then find something else to focus on,
Hmm.
right? Until you can reset on this thing that you're hyper focused on because
Go, go back
try
to.
like I said, right, exactly. And so your resilience takes on a different it takes on a different form,
Yeah.
but it's no less strong, right? You
Right.
because you need to be even more resilient so you don't get sucked back into the patterns of your childhood because
Yeah.
they're strong.
Right. So, how do you handle self doubt today compared to when you were younger?
Hmm. I do a lot of self talk. I
Yeah.
talk to myself out loud. They say crazy people talk to themselves out loud. I talk to myself out loud. I'll tell me like, no, you know, if I have a thought, I'll be like, no, 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 no.
Hmm.
And I use an analogy in my coaching called the rabbit hole. Sometimes
Yeah.
I'll text my friend, there's a little hole emoji and a rabbit. And she'll
Hmm.
just start laughing because I'm like, girl, I'm standing on the edge of the rabbit hole. And if I go down here, it's not going to be good.
Hmm.
And so what was the question?
Oh, it was, how do you handle self doubt today compared to when you were
Self doubt,
younger?
the rabbit hole, right?
Right.
So you know, I'm a, I ruminate a lot, and I know it's not healthy, right? And I can think of 10 different scenarios that are negative within 10 seconds, right? Maybe 50.
Yeah.
Before you get the sentence out of your mouth, I've already played out 100 different scenarios that are not good. And so I really am conscious of
Yeah.
that. And I know where that comes from. It comes from not being safe as a child. It comes from not having stability. It comes from my trauma as a child. And so
Hmm.
I'm so aware of it now that I'm like, no. Now I'm not 100%. Some days it gets me. And on those days, I take a nap. Because
Yeah.
if I can take a nap and I can shut this brain down, I have an opportunity to, have a reset when I wake up. I'm a big believer in naps.
Hmm.
I don't know why we stopped taking naps after kindergarten. I think it's silly, but everybody, including adults, should be taking naps.
I agree with that. I'm guilty of not. You get
Yes.
so caught up, get so busy, you just I don't know. I'm
Listen,
big on
sometimes I just need to lay down for 15 minutes, close my eyes.
yeah,
That's all I
that's all
need.
you need, like a little quick power nap, yeah, to
Hmm.
recharge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you were talking earlier about talking to yourself. I'm physically guilty of that. And people ask me, who are you talking to? Myself?
Listen, I say to people, if somebody catches me doing it, they'll say, "What?" I'm like, "That wasn't for you. That was for me."
Mhm.
And
You know,
yeah.
usually it's me replaying what I should have said to somebody and I didn't say. I should have said this. And I said, a lot of times. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. All right. Moving right along. What does living authentically mean to you now?
Ooh, it's my favorite thing right now. And
Let's hear it.
yeah, you know, this is a deep one for me because I realized in my 30s that I was living out my very own identity crisis. And it was a racial identity crisis. My mom is white and my dad is black. And so I
Hmm.
realized that I was caught in this gray area of my life where I didn't fit in, right?
Right.
And granted, people say, don't worry about fitting in. Well, to a degree, right? There
Yeah.
was an identity crisis because I didn't know anybody who looked like me,
Right.
right? My mom is like white Irish German. My dad is dark skinned.
Hmm.
And my brother and I were the same complexion. And what I realized is that my brother had my dad to identify with as a black man, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And I didn't have that from my mom. Like my mom couldn't teach me about my blackness,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And during that time, both sides of my family were, we'll just say they were racist. There's no really nice way to say it.
Yeah.
Um, it is what it is. And so in my 30s, when I realized that I'd been living in my own identity crisis, it was a really big moment and a big opportunity for me to say, oh, okay,
Yeah.
here's something for me to really look at, right, for myself and look at how this has shaped my decisions, how it's, you know, shaped my journey and my path. And
Yeah.
so um, now that I'm 48 and I've become very aware of that. Um, I am living a more authentic life, understanding that I don't have to fit into any of those molds,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
And so, of course, there's a lot of stuff in between there. But I think that, your family dynamic really shapes you. I don't care what your family is or, what the makeup of it is. That is a foundational thing in your life. And so being able to show up and be authentic, which means I can be loud. I'm aggressive sometimes because that's just who I am. You know what I'm saying? I've learned to temper these things about myself because I don't want to be off-putting and offensive, right?
Yeah.
But I live my life in a way that feels authentic to me. And I don't really care what other people think about it. And it has taken a very long time for me to get there.
Hmm.
And I will not let anyone stifle that in
Right.
me because that takes a lot of work to do
Yeah.
that work. Yeah.
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 Awesome. Good answer, man. So let's switch gears. Can we
Let's
talk
do it.
music? Can we talk about
Yeah,
music?
let's do it. Yeah, let's
All
do it.
right. Tell us about your new music or what's being released overseas right now.
So I'm really excited. There's a song that I wrote 13 years ago called Feel the Love. And Feel the Love was a song that I say it was my baby. It was my baby boo boo child, and I was so proud of this song. And it was first released overseas 13 years ago. It
Mm-hmm.
was tracking to be number one on the charts, and some things happened behind the scenes, and it got silenced. We'll say that.
Wow.
And that's probably one of the saddest things that ever happened in my career, like really gutted me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wrote this song. There was a CNN story about a lesbian couple living in Vermont, and one was from Japan, and the other one was American. And the Japanese lady was being deported, and they had already gotten married. They had gotten married under the new marriage laws.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched this story, and I watched them share their story, crying and trying to comfort each other. And one of the ladies said, she said, I've been with her for 25 years, and she's going to be deported right before Thanksgiving, and I don't know what I'm going to do without her. And it broke something inside of me.
Wow.
And I just I just remember sitting there. I was home. I'd just come off the road, so I was home. I didn't have any plans. And this song just came to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I started writing it on a scratch piece of paper. I called my producer in the studio. I was living in LA at the time. And I said, Hey, where are you? What are you doing? And he was like, Oh, I'm at the studio. He's like, What's up? I was like, I have a song. Can I come now? And he was
Yeah.
like, Yeah. I was like, I'm on my way. So I jump in the car. I'm driving over the canyon, writing the lyrics as they're still coming to me on a napkin. I
Wow.
run in the studio with this napkin in my hand. And I was like, hurry up, let me go in the booth before I forget it, right? Because I don't even know if there were voice notes on our phone then or anything, right? So it was
Yeah.
all in my head.
Yeah.
And so within like 45 minutes, I wrote this song and laid it down and put the rough vocal down on it in the studio. And so it really was, and I'll say this, songwriting is not really my thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had more passion for it, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't. Um,
But when it hits you,
and
it.
it hit me, and I was so proud, and I was like, this song is so good, and it's titled Feel the Love.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know what? It was my anger and my love and my empathy and my heartbreak all wrapped up into one. Like, it's like you feel the love. There's really no way to stop it. Like, you know
Yeah.
what? You can't do this to people. You can't tell people who to love. You
Right.
just can't. and
Right.
and I think that even though the song was written 13 years ago, it's
Mm-hmm.
even more relevant now, and even more
Yes.
relevant in my life because you're looking at a girl who all of my life, the only thing I ever really wanted was to get married. Never
Mm-hmm.
got married, right? I was engaged a couple times, but never got married, only to
Mm-hmm.
then come to a point in my life where I was like, did you really want to get married, or is that just what you thought you were supposed to do?
Yeah.
Right. And so now I'm experiencing love in a whole different way, right? Outside of the traditional confounds of
Right.
of a man and a woman, right? Like
Right.
love is all around us. My
Yeah.
favorite thing is to be around babies because they are pure love. They will coo over you and slobber on you and laugh and with a perfect stranger,
Mm-hmm.
and that's love.
And elderly people as well, right?
Oh yeah, I love talking to older people.
Yeah.
They just say whatever comes up comes out, and I just love all of that
Yeah.
unfilteredness.
Yeah, absolutely. So can we
Yeah.
play a little bit of that song right now?
Yes. Please
All
do.
right. We won't play the entire thing because we're trying to stay under the radar of the YouTube cops. We don't want to get shut down. So.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough.
This is Feel the Love, Miss Kimberley Locke. Love it. Sounds so fresh.
Listen, when I sing it live, great.
Saw that. And the video is nice as well.
Yeah.
Nothing but love.
That's it.
That's what the world needs to focus on more.
Yes. Yes. I got goosebumps. Yes.
Yeah. Not enough of it, man. And there's so much of it to go around, you know?
So much to go around.
Yes. All right. We're going to back it up real quick.
Thank you, Russell.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So how does the music you're creating today, well, this is 13 years ago, but how does it differ from the music that first introduced you to the world?
There's an arc there too, right? As an artist, when you're not the same artist that you were in your 20s as you are when you're in your 40s, almost 50, right? And so I am thinking about what music I want to create next. And I want it to be very intentional. I want it to be filled with love and healing for people. And so I haven't, Feel the Love is on those lines. And listen, everything happens for a reason, right?
Yeah.
I believe that there aren't any mistakes, and there's a reason why this song never crossed over the pond to come to the United States until now. And
Right.
so I'm now waiting with expectation to see what the plan is for this song.
Yeah.
And seeing what happens, because it is the gateway for what's next for me musically. And what I love about this song is that the energy frequency of this song is so positive, right?
Yeah.
Even when I'm singing it, I've got a big smile on my face, and I can see people out in the audience that are smiling and they feel it, and that's what I want to put out into the world. Like, I want to put that out into the world, that
Absolutely, yeah.
energy. Yeah, because like you said, people don't understand that there's so much love to go around.
Yeah.
So much. And it's like an energy socket. Once you plug into it, it's like magic.
And it's easier to love than not to love, you know? So
Yeah.
much energy is
Yeah.
put into hatred and all these other things, but very little
Yeah.
energy to love. I mean, it's doesn't
Right.
take much.
And here's the funny thing. All of that hatred, they're doing it in the name of love, right? Like,
Mhm.
it doesn't even make any sense, right? They're like, well, I love my country and I love my religion, you're doing it, and it's like, no, like, this is not a
Right.
peanut butter jelly sandwich. Doesn't work like that. This is not
Exactly.
going
Don't try to
together.
sugarcoat it. Yeah. Yeah. It's like putting
Yeah.
sugar on, you know what?
Right. Oh, you are a Southern man.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, I hadn't heard that in so long. That's a
Oh,
good
wow.
one.
Yeah, that fits. And, wow.
It does.
Oh, wow. So, gosh, where are we? Having a ball tonight with Kimberley Locke, y'all. Is there a
I'm
message?
having a great time.
That's good. I'm glad you are. I was kind of Kind of nervous that you wouldn't have a great time, but I
Oh
told you
no,
earlier we're not going to beat you up with American Idol stuff tonight. We're just
nah.
we're going to talk about
No, this
Kimberly
is
the
good.
person. Yeah.
This is good.
So, is there a mess? We talked about the message. The message is love. I was going to ask you, is there a message or a
Mhm.
theme in your new music that reflects
Yeah,
where you're in life? We talked about that. So,
yeah, yeah, and even to go a little, just one step further with that,
mhm.
self love is what is missing because the hatred that's being spewed out right now,
Mhm.
unfortunately, is coming from within those people, which
Mhm.
means they don't have self love. They don't have love for themselves. So
Right.
they're spewing and projecting this stuff onto anybody that they think that they can. And
Mhm.
so people need to be taught to love themselves.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, a lot of people are not taught to love themselves.
Right. Right. Whether it's lack of responsibility from family or
Hmm.
friends, you know. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
So, what risk are you taking creatively, creatively that you may not have taken
Mm.
earlier in your career?
That's a great question. And I think the answer is in whatever this next music project is for me, because it's not
Mhm.
going to be a traditional music project. It's going to
Okay.
be a risk, right? Not a
Okay.
risk. It's just going to be not what people expect, right?
Okay.
And so I am excited by that to try something different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, are there any musical influences showing up in your current work that might surprise fans?
Hmm. Huh. Hmm. There's an artist. If I can find her name, I'm going to tell you. She's a big inspiration for me right now. And
Okay.
I'm
While
going to
you're
tell
doing
you her
that,
name. Yeah.
while you're doing that, we've got pick and choose. He says, "We're trained to treat love like a limited resource when it's infinite and only grows uh,
Ooh.
with use."
Wow. Pick and choose. Come on now. Yes.
Mm.
I'm all over that. That's
And
great.
be kind to yourself so you can be kind to others.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. And I don't think people who have that much hatred in their heart, there's no way they can be kind to themselves. No
Yeah.
way, no way. So there's an artist, her name
Mhm.
is called Janae Aiko, and she has a song called Frequency. And
I know
I'm just
exactly what
gonna
you're talking about. I know exactly what
the
you're talking
song is so good, and it's an inspiration to me right now for
about.
the
Hmm.
next body of work that I do.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Nice. All right,
Yeah.
we'll step away from music. You nailed it on the music tip. Um, we'll talk about entrepreneurship and community building.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Building a community is different from building a fan base. What have you learned about creating
Mm.
genuine connection?
Ooh, what I've learned about building a community is number one, that if I truly want to help people in my community, then I have to share my story. And that has not always been easy for me. That requires vulnerability.
Mhm.
And I realized that probably 5 years ago. And I really had to sit with it for a while to say, I'm okay being vulnerable in a one-on-one scenario, but in a group scenario, it makes me a little bit uncomfortable. And so I consciously made a decision to move into that space that made me uncomfortable. And I think when you're building a community, it requires that, right? Um, fans are fans, you have this core group of diehard fans who will follow you wherever you go, every music project. But fandom is fickle, right? There's constantly new artists coming out, constant new music. And so I don't say that in a negative way. I'm just saying that, you know, that music, that wave of fandom, it keeps moving. And then there's a new wave of artists that come out, and so a lot of times you will keep your core base, those people who've been with you from the very beginning, but then that changes. And I think when you build a community, the longevity of community is different in the sense that, you know, you are walking along on a journey together, right?
Yeah.
No one's really on a pedestal. I tell my clients all the time, I can't I can't talk to you about something that I haven't experienced myself, right? I can't teach you, right? And so I want them to understand that while I might be some steps ahead of them on the journey, I'm on the journey, man. I'm
Yeah.
working through this stuff with you, just like you. I am a person just like you.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what qualities do you think make a great leader? I know you got a great answer for this one.
Ah. Yeah, I
Not, not,
have
not to go down,
really.
not to go down a rabbit hole.
Well, listen, the rabbit hole is dark, damp, and scary. And the only way out of the rabbit hole is to back that thing up. So don't go down it in the first place. That's what I always say.
Right.
Um, you know, I think there's several things, like, and I'm going to speak for myself because I'm currently the executive director of a nonprofit. And I am always trying to be the best leader that I can.
Yeah.
And I believe that being a leader, a good leader, is somebody who knows how to build community and
Yeah.
understands that you're the leader, but you didn't build it by yourself, right?
Right.
And that other people's skill sets are so valuable,
Hmm.
so valuable.
Yeah.
And making sure that people feel valued, that is so important. It's such a simple thing. People make it complicated,
Yeah.
right? But being a good leader also, it requires you to know when to let somebody else step up and take the lead, whether
Yeah.
it's on a smaller project or a section of the project, because when you give people responsibility and ownership, people want to do good and they want to do the right thing. But if you
Yeah.
don't give them the opportunity to step up and be heard and to assist and use their talents, then what's the point of having a team? And that team
Yeah.
is your community. And
Right.
so that's where I try to lead from. Like, I don't know everything. I'm one person. I cannot do everything by myself.
Hmm.
And so how do we work together, delegate, and sometimes I'll take a step back so somebody who has more expertise in an area can lead us through a certain aspect, and then we work together to get there. And I think you need to be able to work in a group and to also inspire, right? Like, I think that's such a big thing, because something you said earlier, which was, what do you do when you feel like there's no momentum or there's no movement, like things have stalled? That's when you got to inspire your team
Yeah.
to keep to not stop, to, even if it's little things, do the little things to keep this project moving along, and
Hmm.
then something will break loose. And I
Hmm.
feel, one of my skills is that I'm a motivator. Like, I am a cheerleader. I know how to recognize people's skills and what they're good at, because
Hmm.
just because somebody's good at it, they may not believe that they're good at it,
Right.
right? But how do you inspire that person to step into their talents and into their skills. And
Yeah.
that's a skill in of itself.
Yeah. You got to
Yeah.
put them up on a pedestal sometimes, you know?
Yeah. 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 And let them see. Sometimes people just need to see themselves in a different way. Because
Yeah.
remember this, people are bringing their whole self to the table, whether they want to or not.
Yeah.
And if you don't take the time to understand that your people, your team members have gone through trauma, they've experienced loss, they've experienced setbacks, but they're still doing the best they can to bring themselves to the table.
Yeah.
You have to understand how to help them see themselves beyond that, because a lot of people go to work just to go to work. I need a job, I got a job, right?
Right.
But connecting people with their passion, maybe it's a passion that they forgot, or it's a skill they forgot they had, or
Hmm.
they don't believe in.
Hmm.
Inspiring people to show up and be their best self is key to leadership.
Yeah. Highlight all of that for them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What has been the most rewarding part of creating something beyond music for you?
Ooh. Creating something beyond music. I think discovering that I'm a multifaceted person, right?
Yeah.
And that I'm not just a singer.
Hmm. Exactly.
I think I think a lot of times when we have these gifts, especially like being a singer coming from American Idol, people see you as this one-dimensional being.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're fighting to come out of that box. And people
Yeah.
don't want you to come out of that box because they need you in the box so they can understand who you are and how you fit and all the things, right? Which none
Hmm.
of that has to do with you, right? It has nothing to do with me. It has to do with them and what they need.
Hmm.
And being able to step outside of that box and create, my company, I Am Entertainment, and create the Journey to a Better You, and to create these things and show me that, yes, you're not just a singer,
Yeah.
right? You're smart, you're talented. I'm a serial entrepreneur. Like, I love it. And I love, with I Am Entertainment, that company, we do a lot of social media marketing and management. So I love getting behind other projects and
Hmm.
just pushing them up and watching them become successful. Like I've been in front. I've been on the stage for so long. Like,
Hmm.
I have zero problem being behind the scenes and supporting other people at this point in my life. As a matter of fact, it's one of the things I love the most. I mean, I'm doing it in my coaching, I'm doing it with my, at I Am Entertainment. And so I love that. Like, I have been on stage, I loved it when I did it. And now I'm perfectly happy to be the person behind the scenes. And that feels
Yeah.
really good. That's huge growth for me professionally and personally.
Yeah. The new chapter. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
How do you balance business goals with your desire to help people?
That's a good question. Um, People first.
People first. Yeah.
That's it. People first. You know, um, I have a client that I've been managing in his social media for 6 years, and
Mhm.
I wouldn't change any of it. And watching him become successful and watching him discover himself
Yeah.
personally
Hmm.
has been so rewarding. And
Yeah.
so it's all about the people. Like, I have decided, and I decided this a while ago, probably back in 2015, that I was done working with and for people that I do not like.
Hmm.
I'm just going to say it. And, they probably don't like me for that matter, right? And so I'm done doing that. And so people matter, right? And people are the most important part of that equation. Pick and choose, bro. You come up with really good questions. Yes, your questions are so good, Russell.
Thank
So
you. Pick and choose.
good.
Yeah, pick and choose is one of my regulars. Thank you, bro, for hanging out with us tonight. Appreciate it.
Your questions. This is one of the best interviews I think I've ever done. Thank you.
Oh, you just touched my heart. I appreciate you
Yeah,
saying
absolutely. Listen, I've been on interviews and I'm like, this is the question you're asking me,
that. Yeah,
and and you do these interviews, you do those interviews that are, cookie cut, but it's so refreshing to
mhm.
actually have a conversation with somebody. I
Yeah,
feel like this was amazing.
yeah. We're just learning a lot about who Kimberly is. We've known
Yeah,
you for
I
all of these
appreciate
years,
that.
but we've never really
Yeah.
dug into your self.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
And that's the surface, right? That's that surface stuff, right?
Yeah,
they just want to know the surface level stuff. But I'm at that deeper level in my life as well. And whether somebody's talking to me or I'm talking to somebody, like my favorite thing to do is talk to strangers. I want to
yeah.
hear their story. I want to
Oh,
learn
yeah.
people's story, like, because everybody's got a story.
Everybody has a story. I spend a lot of time when I'm on the street, like in the downtown big city areas. I'll stop and talk to a homeless person just to hear their story. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
they all have stories. I mean,
They all have stories. They all have stories. Yeah.
right.
I met a man in Spain. I
Mhm,
was in Spain and he was asking people to buy him a hamburger. And
mhm,
I was taking a class while I was there.
mhm.
And I said, "Of course." I said, "Yes, I'll buy you a hamburger."
Yeah,
And I said, "How about," it was a Burger King like on the corner. So we go there. And I said, I said, "Do you live in Spain?" I was in Sevilla. And he said,
mhm,
"No." He said, I he's like, "I graduated from college and I lost my job." And he just told me this whole story, right?
mhm.
And I just said to him, I said, "You know what?" I said, "You're going to be okay, you know?"
Yeah,
And he looked at me and he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I am." And I said, "Enjoy your hamburger, French
yeah,
fries, like enjoy it." And he was taking the train somewhere to meet his family, like he was just trying to
yeah,
get there.
yeah,
And that just made me feel like, we all have a story, and most of the time we're too ashamed to share it.
yeah.
But when we share it, it will touch somebody,
Oh
and
yeah,
it'll make a difference in somebody else's life.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've definitely been touched many times. I know I'm a softie, man. If I hear a story,
Yeah.
I'm gonna hear it through to the very end, and
Yeah.
a lot of time, yeah. Because if you treat this person like you're in a rush, it makes them feel like they don't matter. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Exactly. And we all matter. That's the other thing. I think there are so many people in this world right now, in this moment, that think they don't matter. And
Hmm.
that is the biggest disservice that's happening
Yeah,
in our world right now, that people feel like they do not matter.
exactly. And we all
Yeah.
matter,
We all matter. Yeah, we do.
as Pick and Juice says. All right, so let's talk about some fun and thought provoking things.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we'll step away from the business and the music, and we'll just do something fun.
Okay.
So, what's something people would be surprised to learn about you today?
That I ride a motorcycle.
What?
I I don't own one now, but my
Okay.
last motorcycle, I had a 749 candy apple red Ducati, and she
Wow.
was sweet and delicious.
Yeah.
And I sold it because I'm moving around a lot, but I miss riding. I grew up riding dirt bikes with my
Yeah, I was gonna
brother. And
say
so,
you're from the
yeah,
South. I'm not surprised.
yeah, yeah. It's one of
Wow,
my
I'm
favorite
jealous.
things to do.
I am
Yeah.
jealous. I've always wanted a motorcycle, and I can't seem to make that move. But I am so jealous.
Yeah. Yeah. When I go, if I get them, when I had to get my new driver's license, I said to the lady, I was like, yo, make sure I get that M endorsement on my, don't take that off. She's like,
Wow.
I heard you the first time.
So you do the whole gear and everything, the leather and that?
Yeah. You know what? I had some leather pants, but in the summer, it's hot because they're leather and they're padded. So it's like, I mean, it was dangerous for me because if I overheat, I pass out, and
Yeah.
so I was like, yeah, I can't do this. So I had, I usually would wear jeans. I'd have my boots, but I had a jacket that was ventilated and had all of
Mhm.
the, it had all of your
Right.
protective padding in it and stuff like that. But yeah,
Right.
wearing all that stuff in the summer, it's rough.
Oh yeah, I can
It's
imagine.
rough. Yeah, yeah.
All right. So if you could host a dinner party with three people, living or gone, who
Oh,
would
I
they
love this
be?
question. Okay. Etta James,
Etta James,
Judy Garland,
Judy Garland,
and Eminem.
Eminem. Didn't see that one coming. You got Etta James, Judy Garland, and Eminem. Wow.
That would be a fun dinner.
All
That'd be
together?
hilarious. Oh, yeah. That'd be fun. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big Eminem fan you are, I guess, huh?
I think that he is it's his vulnerability. That's what
Mm-hmm.
it is. And the passion that he puts into his music, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, listen, best run song ever,
Yeah.
like
The Eight
lose
Mile
yourself
soundtrack.
in the music,
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
morning, and never let it go. I'm like, what? When I was running, I
Yeah.
would run to that song and like I would mess up my pace every time because I would start running faster than I really should have been running, and
Yeah.
I would be.
Yeah.
But I love, I love his stuff. I love his
Yeah.
work.
It's like the modern day Rocky theme, right? Remember back in the day, Rocky
Yeah.
theme?
Yes. Yes.
Wow. All
Yeah.
right. What is a book, podcast, or lesson that had a major impact on you recently?
Ooh, recently. Oh man, I haven't. I knew I should have gone to the library and got that book I was going to get before I came on my trip. I haven't read a book in a really long time.
Either just audio.
Um, yeah, I have a book. I'm learning Italian, and so
Yeah.
I have a little book of Italian stories that I'm reading. But I'm
Okay.
trying to think, what have I read? I haven't read anything recently. Um,
Haven't even too bad.
I don't really listen to podcasts. I know it sounds weird, doesn't it?
But now you should.
Now I should. I should listen to yours. Yes, I should. Yeah, I don't have an answer for that one.
Okay. That's cool. All right. We'll keep it moving. What's one question you wish interviewers asked you more often?
Oh.
I'm take a note. I'm gonna take a note when you answer this.
It's any of your questions that you've asked me. All of your questions were fantastic, right? And I think that what I wish people would ask me is something about me. Like, who are you, Kimberly? Just
Yeah.
something so simple as like, it's like Pick and Choose said, get to know the person, right? Like,
Yeah.
I am not this thing. And all of your questions have been so like deliberate and really about getting to know me as a person.
Right.
And so I would just say I wish more people ask questions about me.
Fantastic. Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely wanted to do that tonight. I did not want to do, your typical American Idol stuff. I didn't want to beat you up with
Yeah.
that. So I was like, yeah, we're going to talk about Kim tonight.
It's been really, really good. It's really, listen, when I started my dinner before we got on this call, so I made some
Mhm.
tomato sauce with
Mm.
garlic and, yeah. And
That's right.
so
You're a
I got
big
a
chef
little,
too. You're a big chef. How
yeah, I
can
like to
you?
cook. Oh my God, I love to cook. And so tonight I'm gonna
Yeah.
be so, you just gave me like an extra boost to make my night that much better, because I have enjoyed this conversation immensely, or this interview immensely.
Oh, I'm so grateful.
um, yeah, because, and I don't feel like I wasted my time. Like, I'll be honest with you, I get off some of these interviews and I'm like, that was a waste of time, you
Ah,
know. Or you go on some of these TV shows and you literally have 3 minutes and they ask you nothing that is relevant, right?
yeah.
And so I appreciate you so much, Russell, today. Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
What are you most excited about for the next chapter of your life?
Well, I want to move out of the country. And I don't know if I'm not saying I want to stay gone forever, but I want to move to Italy, and
Hmm.
I want to have that experience of living somewhere else for a
Hmm.
year or so, and see what happens, you
Yeah.
know. Um, I think right now, well, big picture, I already know, like, if I move to Italy, I do want to sing. I want to learn to sing in Italian. So, I've got some people that are sending me some music to listen to and things like that. Like, I asked some people that I know who are into music and say, give me a
Yeah.
good Italian song to learn. But like, I want to explore it. I want to see what that feels like to really, you know, just step out there and do something completely different. I think what I realize is that, we were talking about age earlier, and I realized, like, I'm not married, I don't have any children. What am I doing with my life, right? And so I know I want to help people, I want to support people on their journey through life, but I also want to see as many different parts of the world as I can,
Yeah.
because there's so much beauty that so many of us do not get to see at all, right?
Right.
And I want to see it, and I want to experience. I love experiencing other cultures.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think it is the most amazing thing.
Yeah, there are so many people that have never left their hometowns and have no idea what's out there, you know? Lots of
Right.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish that we had a program that required young people their senior year to do an international trip,
Hmm.
because I believe that travel changes people, changes the way they think, it changes the way they see the world, it changes the way they see themselves in the
Hmm.
world. And I think that it is a real disadvantage here in the United States.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, closing question.
Ooh, all right.
If someone listening today feels stuck physically, mentally, or emotionally, what's the first step you'd encourage them to take toward becoming a better version of themselves?
I've come to learn that one of the best ways to get unstuck is to go do something that is completely out of your routine.
Mhm.
Completely, right?
Mhm.
Because you break the thought pattern, right? And so if you've ever seen a brain or seen pictures of brain, there's all these little grooves in the brain or whatever. And those
Yeah,
grooves are basically thought patterns that have been carved, neuro patterns that have been carved into the brain, because we're doing the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So the best way to get yourself unstuck is to do something that is completely outside of your norm.
Right.
Yes, you got to break the mental pattern. You got to break the path that you've been wearing down, that same path you walk down to the lake every day.
Yeah.
Make a new path, go into the weeds, and just see what happens. And
Yeah.
usually you will be completely surprised and delighted by getting off of your normal path.
Gotcha. On that note, as we wrap up, I just want to thank you so much again, Kimberly, for being here and for sharing your story with us today. It's really inspiring to see how you've continued to grow from the music that introduced you to so many people to wellness work, new creative chapters you're building now with the journey into better you. Before we go, what's one thing you hope people take away from everything you're doing right now?
I hope that if people watch this interview that they see a little piece of themselves in me and understand that all we're not that different, right?
Right.
We are more alike than we are different.
Yeah.
And that I always say, if somehow I manage to navigate my life and my childhood and my trauma, then I hope it's an inspiration that somebody else can do the same. And that's all I hope. I hope that there was a spark of hope, a spark of light as they listened in, that it sparked something within them to let them know that they've got this,
Yeah.
they can do it.
Nice. Fantastic answer. So, folks, if you were inspired by this live stream today, make sure you reach out to Kimberly on all her platforms. Where can people find you, Miss Kimberly?
I am at Kimberly Locke on on Facebook and Instagram, and then at Journey Better You is what it is on Instagram. But they're one and the same. So if you find Kimberly Locke, you found me.
Gotcha. All right. Again, I thank you so much. I'm going to drop you down in the
Yeah.
green. Hang out there for a bit, and we'll come back and chat for a few before I let you go.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Thank you so much, Kimberly. I really appreciate this. It was a lot of fun tonight,
Yeah, this
and
was
we'll
great.
talk to you again soon. Okay.
All right.
Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye bye. All right. As Kimberly heads out, I just want to take a moment to reflect on some of the great insights she shared with us today. From embracing personal growth and wellness to continuing to evolve creatively, creatively, her journey is a powerful reminder that reinvention and self-discovery are an ongoing process. I hope our conversation encouraged you to think about your own path and the positive changes you can make in your own life. With that said, make sure that you head over to YouTube and subscribe to me there and hit the bell for future notifications for when I drop a new episode. You will certainly be notified, and check me out on all of the other social platforms. I'm over at TikTok, Instagram. I have two Facebook groups, and I'm also now on Twitch. So with that said, as I always say, y'all, live, love, and dream. Until next time, peace.